Japan has over 90,000 people living past 100 years old. That's more centenarians per capita than anywhere else on Earth. And here's what's even more remarkable. Many of them are still gardening, walking independently, and living without constant medical intervention well into their 90s. Meanwhile, here in the United States, we spend over $30 billion every single year on gym memberships alone. We've got fitness trackers on our wrists, protein powder in our pantries, and YouTube workout channels saved on every device. Yet chronic disease rates keep climbing. Mobility issues are skyrocketing. And by age 65, nearly 40% of Americans can't even get up off the floor without assistance. Something doesn't add up, does it? So what are the Japanese doing differently? What do they know that we've forgotten? And before you say it, I already know what you're thinking. Oh, it's the sushi. It's the green tea. It's genetics. Here's the truth. It's not just the sushi. It's not just genes. And it's definitely not some magical anti-aging secret they're keeping from the rest of us. Harvard researchers, Stanford biomechanics experts, and teams from universities across Japan spent years studying the oldest, healthiest people in Japanese communities. And they discovered something unexpected. Something so simple, it almost sounds too easy to be true. 6 specific movements that Japanese elders do naturally, every single day. Not in a gym. Not in a yoga studio. Just woven into the fabric of their daily lives. And here's the part that made me stop in my tracks when I first read the research. One of these movements alone has been linked to adding up to 7 years to your life expectancy. Not just living longer, but maintaining independence, mobility, and quality of life for those extra years. By the end of this video, you're going to know all 6. And, more importantly, you're going to know exactly how to start using them today, no matter what shape you're in right now. Now, if you're over 50 and you're starting to feel that stiffness when you get out of bed in the morning, if your knees complain every time you go upstairs, if you feel that tightness in your hips after sitting for too long, or you're just tired of feeling like movement is becoming harder and harder instead of easier, I need you to know something. This isn't just about aging. This is about the way we've been taught to move, or more accurately, the way we've stopped moving altogether. You're about to discover 6 ancient movement habits that Japanese elders practice without even thinking about it. They're not exotic. They're not complicated. In fact, you probably did most of them naturally when you were a child, before chairs and cars and desk jobs trained them out of you. And here's what makes these movements different from everything you've tried. No pills. No gym equipment. No sweating through workouts you hate. No getting down on a yoga mat and wondering if you'll be able to get back up. Just gentle, intelligent movement that rebuilds your body from the inside out. Movement that works with your body's natural design instead of fighting against it. This isn't about becoming an athlete. It's about reclaiming the freedom to move through your life without pain, without fear, and without constantly worrying about what your body can't do anymore. Before we dive into these 6 movements, I want to ask you something. Drop your name and where you're watching from in the comments right now. I love seeing this community grow from every corner of the world, and I genuinely read every single comment. Plus, it helps the algorithm show this video to more people who need it. So take 2 seconds, say hello, and let me know you're here. All right, let's get into it. Forget everything you think you know about walking for exercise. In the West, we're told to walk faster, get our heart rate up, hit 10,000 steps, track our pace. More is better, right? Harder is better. But in Japan, elders practice something completely different. It's called sampo, and it translates roughly to a leisurely stroll.
Don't you think so?
This isn't about speed. It's not about distance. It's about presence. Here's how it works. You walk at half your normal speed, maybe even slower. You're not power walking. You're not racing to get somewhere. You walk deliberately, feeling each foot make contact with the ground. You breathe deeply and rhythmically. Inhale for 2 steps. Hold. Exhale for 3 steps. Your arms swing naturally at your sides. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That's not even real exercise. How is walking slowly going to help me? Stay with me, because the research on this is fascinating. A 10-year longitudinal study from Kyoto University followed over 1,000 adults age 65 and older. They measured arterial stiffness, cardiovascular health, balance metrics, and overall mortality rates. And here's what they found. Those who practiced slow, mindful walking had 62% less arterial stiffness compared to those who walked quickly or didn't walk at all. Why? Because when you slow down, something magical happens in your body. First, you activate all 33 joints in each foot. Most of us walk so quickly and mindlessly that we're basically just falling forward and catching ourselves. We never actually feel our feet. But when you slow down, you start using your feet the way they were designed. Your toes spread. Your arch engages. The small stabilizer muscles in your ankles wake up. Second, you retrain your balance system. Your body has 3 systems that control balance: your vision, your inner ear, and something called proprioception, your body's ability to sense where it is in space. When you rush through movement, you rely mostly on vision, but slow walking forces your proprioceptors to engage. You're literally rebuilding your body's natural balance system. Third, and this is the part that surprised me most, slow walking activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part of your nervous system responsible for rest, repair, and digestion. Fast walking triggers your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. It tells your body there's an emergency. But slow walking tells your body, we're safe. We can heal now. You won't break a sweat doing this. You won't get that endorphin high. But over time, you'll notice something profound. You'll feel more grounded, more stable, more calm. Your chronic tension will start to dissolve. Here's how to start. Find a place with natural terrain. Grass, dirt path, sand, gravel. Not concrete or pavement if you can help it. The unevenness of natural ground forces your feet and ankles to adapt and strengthen with every step. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Walk slowly. Feel your feet. Breathe deeply. That's it. Do this 3 times a week, and within a month, you'll move differently through the world. Now, this next one's going to challenge you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But stick with me, because this might be the most important movement on this entire list. Japanese elders sit on the floor. Not sometimes. Not just for meditation. Daily. Multiple times a day. It's called SI, which translates to correct sitting. You kneel with your legs folded beneath you, sitting back on your heels, spine tall, hands resting on your thighs. Now, if your knees are screaming at you just hearing me describe this, I get it. That's exactly why you need it. Let me explain. Your hips, knees, and ankles are designed to move through a full range of motion. But modern life has stolen that from us. We sit in chairs from the moment we wake up. Breakfast table, car seat, office chair, couch. Our joints are locked into the same 90-degree angles for 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And here's what happens. The old saying, use it or lose it, is literally true for joint mobility. When you don't move your joints through their full range, your body starts laying down collagen fibers in the unused ranges. It's like your body is saying, oh, you don't need this range of motion? Let me just fill that in with scar tissue. A biomechanics study from Tokyo Metropolitan University tracked 500 people over 15 years, from age 60 to 75. They found that people who regularly sat on the floor maintained 40% more hip flexibility and 35% better knee range of motion than those who only used chairs. But here's the truly remarkable finding. These floor-sitters also had dramatically lower rates of hip replacement surgery and knee replacement surgery. We're talking about a 60% reduction in the need for joint replacement procedures. Why? Because sitting on the floor preserves the natural mechanics of your joints. When you lower yourself down, you're doing a full-depth squat. When you sit in CA, you're stretching your ankle flexors and quadriceps while engaging your core. When you get back up, you're doing a functional strength movement that mimics every essential pattern you need for independent living. And here's something even more profound. There's a test that geriatric researchers use called the Thrive60 test. You sit on the floor and stand back up without using your hands for support. Your ability to do this is one of the single strongest predictors of longevity and independence. A study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80. Those who could complete the Thrive60 test with no support were 6 times more likely to be alive 6 years later compared to those who needed significant support. 6 times. This isn't just about flexibility. It's about maintaining the fundamental movement patterns that keep you independent. Because the moment you can't get up and down from the floor on your own is often the moment you lose your independence. So how do you start if you haven't sat on the floor in years? First, use support. Sit on a firm cushion or folded blanket. Keep a sturdy chair or coffee table nearby to hold on to as you lower down and get back up. Start with just 2 minutes. Sit while you're watching TV or reading. Your knees might complain at first. You might feel stiff. That's okay. That's your body telling you this is important work. Do this every day and slowly, over weeks and months, work your way to a lower cushion. Then eventually to the floor itself. Your future self, the one who's still getting up and down without help at 80, will thank you for starting today. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., across Japan, something beautiful happens. From city parks to tiny rural villages, millions of people step outside and participate in Ragio Taiso, a simple, rhythmic exercise routine that's been broadcast on national radio since 1928. It takes exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. There's no equipment, no special clothing, no expertise required. Just simple flowing movements done to music. Arm circles, gentle torso twists, side bends, knee lifts, shoulder rolls, forward folds. Nothing fancy, nothing Instagram worthy, nothing that would make you break a sweat or need a shower afterward. And yet, this simple practice might be one of the most powerful movement interventions ever studied. Researchers at Tsukuba University conducted a 6-month study with 400 participants aged 60 to 85. Half did Ragio Taiso every morning. The other half continued their normal routines. The results were stunning. The Ragio Taiso group improved their joint mobility by 34%. They reported 29% less chronic pain. They had better balance scores, better grip strength. And here's the one that really stood out. They reported feeling 40% more energized throughout the day. So what's happening here? Why would 3 minutes of gentle movement create such dramatic results? The answer lies in something called fascia. Fascia is the connective tissue that wraps around every muscle, every organ, every structure in your body. Think of it like a 3-dimensional spider web that holds everything together. When fascia is healthy, it's fluid, hydrated, and elastic. You move easily. Everything glides. But when fascia gets stuck, from lack of movement, From chronic sitting, from repetitive patterns, everything starts to hurt. Your back aches. Your shoulders feel tight. Your hips feel locked up. It's not muscle soreness. It's fascial restriction. And here's the key. Fascia responds beautifully to gentle, rhythmic, varied movement. Not stretching. Not strengthening. Just movement through multiple planes of motion. That's exactly what Thrive60 does. It takes you through every major joint in your body, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, ankles, with fluid, easy movements. You're not forcing anything. You're not holding stretches. You're just moving, and that movement hydrates and loosens your fascia. Think of it like oiling the hinges on a door. You don't need force. You don't need to muscle it. You just need consistent, gentle motion. The beauty of Thrive60 is that it's perfectly designed to wake up your body without exhausting it. You finish feeling energized, not depleted. Mobile, not sore. You don't need the radio broadcast. You don't need to understand Japanese. Just set a timer for 3 minutes every morning and move through every joint in your body with gentle, flowing motion. Roll your shoulders back, then forward. Twist your spine left and right. Bend to each side. Circle your hips. Lift your knees. Roll your ankles. Reach your arms overhead and stretch tall. Then fold forward and let everything release. Do this every single morning before you do anything else, and within a week, you'll notice you move differently through the entire day. You'll have less pain, more energy, better posture, and a body that feels younger than it has in years. Here's something you will hear from a fitness influencer. Japanese elders don't exercise. They don't go to the gym. They don't count reps. They don't track their macros or worry about whether they hit their protein goals. They work. Not corporate work. Not desk work. Useful work. Physical work. Work that produces something. It's called kinro, and it translates roughly to labor or working with your hands. Gardening. Sweeping. Hanging laundry on a line. Chopping vegetables by hand. Raking leaves, carrying groceries, washing dishes, tending to plants. These aren't chores to be avoided or rushed through. They're woven into the fabric of daily life, and Japanese elders continue doing them well into their 80s and 90s. And here's what researchers discovered when they studied these communities. This daily useful work might be more valuable than any gym workout. Stanford researchers spent 2 years studying Japanese farming communities where elders were still actively working into old age. They measured bone density, muscle mass, joint health, cardiovascular fitness, and cognitive function. What they found was remarkable. Elders who engaged in regular light physical work, bending, squatting, reaching, lifting, carrying, had bone density scores comparable to people 20 years younger. Their muscle mass was significantly higher. Their balance was better. And perhaps most surprisingly, their rates of dementia and cognitive decline were dramatically lower. Why? Because this kind of varied functional movement does something that gym exercises can't replicate. First, it loads your bones in natural, varied patterns. Your bones are living tissue. They respond to mechanical load by getting stronger. But they're smart. They only strengthen in the directions where they experience force. When you squat to pull weeds, you're loading your hips, knees, and spine in exactly the way they were designed to be loaded. When you reach overhead to hang clothes on a line, you're maintaining shoulder mobility and strength in a functional context. When you carry a basket of vegetables, you're training grip strength and core stability. Every movement is different. Every angle is slightly varied. Your body has to constantly adapt, and that adaptation keeps you strong and capable. Second, this kind of work keeps you connected to purpose. There's a psychological component here that's just as important as the physical. When you garden, you're growing food. When you sweep, you're caring for your space. When you chop vegetables, you're preparing nourishment. Studies on aging consistently show that sense of purpose is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. And useful work provides that purpose every single day. Third, it's sustainable. You're not grinding yourself into the ground with intense workouts that leave you exhausted. You're moving naturally at a pace that feels right, doing things that need to be done anyway. The Japanese have a concept called maltanai, a sense of regret when something is wasted. They see it as wasteful to hire someone to do work that your body is still capable of doing. Not because they can't afford help, but because they understand that the work itself is what keeps them strong. So how do you apply this to your life? Find one useful task every day that requires you to move your body in varied ways. Resist the urge to take shortcuts or buy gadgets that do the work for you. Instead of a dishwasher, wash dishes by hand. Stand, bend, reach, twist. Instead of a leaf blower, use a rake. Squat down to gather the leaves. Stand. Twist to toss them into a bag. Instead of driving to check your mailbox, walk there. Squat down to pull a few weeds on the way back. Garden, if you can. Grow something. Anything. Even if it's just herbs in a pot on your windowsill. The bending, the reaching, the digging, it all matters. Your body doesn't know the difference between a kettlebell swing and swinging a broom. It doesn't know the difference between a leg press and squatting to pick up a basket of laundry. It just knows, I'm being asked to move in varied functional ways. I better stay strong and capable. That's the secret. Not intensity. Not suffering. Just consistent, varied, useful movement woven into the fabric of your daily life. The Japanese don't just walk in nature. They bathe in it. Shinrin-yoku translates to forest bathing. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Immersing yourself in the atmosphere of the forest. You're not hiking. You're not exercising. You're not trying to get anywhere or accomplish anything. You're just being present, still, absorbing. Now, I know this might sound a little too woo-woo for some of you. Forest bathing? Come on, just tell me to go for a walk. But here's the thing. The science on this is absolutely undeniable. And it's not just about the walk. It's about what the forest does to your body at a cellular level. A landmark study published in Environmental Health and Preventive Medicine put this to the test. They took participants into forest environments and measured their physiological responses. Not surveys about how they felt. Actual biological markers. Here's what they found. Spending just 15 minutes in a forest environment lowered cortisol levels by an average of 12.4%. Blood pressure dropped. Heart rate variability improved, which is a marker of parasympathetic nervous system activation. Participants literally shifted out of fight or flight mode and into rest and repair mode. And these weren't subtle changes. We're talking about measurable, clinically significant improvements in stress markers. But the most fascinating part of the research involves something called phytoncides. Phytoncides are aromatic compounds that trees and plants release into the air to protect themselves from insects, bacteria, and fungi. When you walk through a forest, you're breathing in these compounds. And here's what happens in your body. Phytoncides boost your natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are part of your innate immune system. They patrol your body looking for cancer cells, virally infected cells, and other threats. They're your first line of defense. A study conducted by Nippon Medical School took participants on a 3-day forest retreat and measured their natural killer cell activity before and after. The results were stunning. After just 1 day in the forest, natural killer cell activity increased by 50%. And here's the remarkable part. That boost lasted for 30 days. 1 day of forest bathing provided a month of immune system enhancement. They also found increased production of anti-cancer proteins and decreased inflammation markers throughout the body. This isn't mysticism. This is hard science. Your body has a biological response to being in nature that you simply cannot replicate in a gym or on a treadmill in your garage. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't live near a forest. I'm in a city. This doesn't apply to me. Here's the good news. You don't need a pristine wilderness. The research shows benefits from any natural, green environment. A park works. A tree-lined street works. A botanical garden works. Even a cemetery with old trees works. What matters is that you're surrounded by living greenery and that you slow down enough to actually be present with it. Here's how to practice Shinrin-yoku. Find a green space. Any green space. Leave your phone on silent, or, better yet, leave it behind entirely. This isn't about steps, or photos, or checking in. Walk slowly. Stop frequently. Notice the light filtering through the leaves. Listen to the sounds, birds, wind, rustling branches. Place your hand on a tree trunk and feel the texture of the bark. Breathe deeply through your nose. Smell the earth, the leaves, the air. Spend at least 15 minutes, but 30 to 60 minutes is ideal. Do this once a week at minimum, but daily if you can. And watch what happens to your stress levels, your sleep quality, your immune system, and your overall sense of well-being. Your nervous system will regulate itself. Your body will shift into repair mode. And you'll tap into something ancient and deeply healing that human beings have always known. We belong in nature. And nature heals us. This is the most important movement on this entire list. And it's the one we've lost almost completely in the Western world. Japanese elders squat. Not as an exercise. Not as a party trick. As life. They squat to garden, planting seeds and pulling weeds. They squat to rest, settling into a deep squat position instead of sitting in a chair. They squat to talk to grandchildren, getting down to eye level. They squat to pick something up off the ground. They squat while cooking, washing clothes, tending to daily tasks. The deep squat, hips below knee level, heels flat on the ground, torso upright, is as natural to them as sitting in a chair is to us. And here's what decades of research have shown. The deep squat is the single best predictor of mobility, independence, and longevity in old age. Let that sink in for a moment. Not how much you can bench press. Not how many miles you can run. Your ability to squat deep and comfortably is the #1 indicator of whether you'll maintain independence as you age. A comprehensive study from Nagoya University tracked over 2,000 adults from age 70 to 85. They tested their ability to perform a deep squat, then followed their health outcomes for 15 years. The findings were stark and unambiguous. Those who could hold a deep squat for 30 seconds had an 85% lower risk of falling. They experienced significantly less lower back pain. They maintained independence an average of 7 years longer. And their mortality rate was dramatically lower. 7 extra years of independent living. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between living in your own home and living in a care facility. That's the difference between playing with your great-grandchildren and watching from a wheelchair. So why is the deep squat so powerful? Because it's a full-body diagnostic test. The deep squat requires mobility in your ankles, knees, hips, thoracic spine, and shoulders, all at the same time. It requires balance, coordination, strength, body awareness. If you can squat deep with good form, everything is working. All the systems are online. If you can't, something or several things need attention. Tight ankles, weak glutes, stiff hips, poor core stability, limited spine mobility. And here's what's so beautiful about this. You can rebuild it. No matter how long it's been, no matter how stiff you feel right now, your body remembers. You squatted effortlessly as a toddler. That capacity is still in there, waiting to be reawakened. But we have to be smart about this. If you haven't squatted in years or decades, you can't just drop down into a deep squat and expect your body to cooperate. Here's how to start. Find something sturdy to hold on to. A countertop, a railing, a door frame, a TRX strap, if you have one. Hold onto your support with both hands. Position your feet slightly wider than hip width, toes pointed slightly out. Keep your weight in your heels. Now, slowly lower yourself down as far as you can comfortably go. Maybe that's just a few inches. Maybe that's halfway down. Wherever you are, that's your starting point. Hold that position for 5 to 10 seconds. Feel what's tight. Notice what's working and what's not. Then use your support to help yourself back up. Do this twice a day, morning and evening. Every single day. Over days, you'll go a little deeper. Over weeks, you'll hold it a little longer. Over months, you'll need the support less and less. And eventually, maybe in 3 months, maybe in a year, you'll lower yourself into a full deep squat, heels on the ground, hips below knees, comfortable and stable. And on that day, you'll know something profound. You've reclaimed a fundamental human movement that most people in the Western world lose by age 40. You'll be able to get down on the floor with your grandchildren and get back up without help. You'll be able to work in your garden without pain. You'll move through life with a freedom and confidence that most people your age have given up on. That's what squat living gives you. And it starts today, with one supported squat. I want to pause here for a moment because I know some of you might be feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're thinking, I can't do some of these yet. My body's not ready. I'm too stiff, too weak, too far gone. And I need you to hear this. That's okay. Safety first, always. Listen to your body. Pain is not progress. Discomfort during a stretch is normal. Sharp pain is a signal to stop. If your knees hurt when you try CISA, sit on a higher cushion. If you can't squat yet, hold on to something and just go as far as you can. If forest bathing sounds impossible because you're in a wheelchair, find a park bench under a tree and just sit there. Start where you are, not where you think you should be, not where you used to be, not where someone else is. Right here, right now, in this body, with these limitations, with this history. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're not broken beyond repair. You're just getting started. And here's what I've learned after years of studying movement and aging. Your body wants to heal. It wants to move. It wants to feel good. You just have to give it the right conditions and enough time. These 6 movements aren't about performance. They're not about proving anything or competing with anyone. They're about presence, about moving in a way that honors your body instead of punishing it. Every single day that you practice one of these movements, you're investing in your future. You're telling your body, I believe you can still adapt. I believe you can still change. I believe you're worth taking care of. And your body will hear that message. And it will respond. You know what I've learned from studying Japanese elders? Aging well isn't about pushing harder. It's about moving smarter. In the West, we're obsessed with intensity. No pain, no gain. Go big or go home. Push through. Ignore your body's signals and force it to submit. We treat our bodies like machines that need to be driven harder, faster, stronger. And when they break down, we act surprised. But in Japan, they understand something deeper. something we've forgotten in our rush to optimize and maximize and hustle. Your body is not a machine to be driven into the ground. It's a garden to be tended. It needs gentle care, consistent attention, varied nourishment, and time to grow. You don't force a garden. You nurture it. You water it. You give it sunlight. You pull the weed. You prune what needs pruning. And you trust the process. That's what these 6 movements represent. They're not about dominating your body. They're about coming back into relationship with it. And here's the beautiful truth that I want you to take with you today. You don't need to move to Japan to age like the Japanese. You don't need to speak the language or adopt the entire culture or eat a completely different diet. You just need to move, gently, daily, purposefully, with respect for your body's wisdom. Because the Japanese don't move to live forever. They don't move to show off or to look good in photos, or to hit some arbitrary fitness standard. They move to live well, to maintain their independence, to stay connected to their purpose, to keep participating in life instead of watching from the sidelines. And that's available to you, starting right now. Not someday. Not when you lose weight or get in shape or feel more motivated. Today. This moment. This body. This choice. Start with just one movement, 1 minute, one deliberate choice to honor your body instead of ignoring it. Walk slowly for 10 minutes. Sit on the floor for 2 minutes. Do 3 minutes of gentle morning movement. Squat while holding on to something. Spend 15 minutes under a tree. Do one useful task that requires you to bend and reach. Just one. That's all it takes to begin. And once you begin, everything changes. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 6 movements spoke to you the most? Which one are you going to start with today? Or maybe you already practice one of these. Tell me how it's changed your life. Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one, and I can't wait to hear your story. And if you found this valuable, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs it. That person who's struggling with mobility. That parent or grandparent who's given up on feeling good in their body. That friend who thinks it's too late. It's never too late. And they deserve to know that. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.